Tonight for dinner, we are making a one-pot gnocchi chicken pot pie. My daughter and I are actually gonna be working on this together. She already set out all of the ingredients that we need, and everything else is gonna happen over on the stovetop, so let's move over there and get this thing started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is turn that heat on to medium-high and make sure that that starts to get hot. We're using a large pot, so you need a Dutch oven, large pot, something like that you can fit a good amount of stuff into. Let's add 4 tablespoons of butter to this pot and let that melt. And then we have some vegetables that we're gonna add in for sauteing as well. Okay, we're gonna start adding those vegetables. The butter is still melting, but it will be fine. So we have some mushrooms and some sliced carrots to be added in. This is about a half cup or so of carrots, and then what is it, 4 ounces?
Yes, 4 ounces.
4 ounces of mushrooms. We are not cutting ours up as far as the mushrooms go because my daughter actually does not like mushrooms, but she'll pick them out. So we just leave them big enough that she can easily just pick them out. Now, normally a pot pie also gets celery and peas. My husband really does not like peas at all and does not love celery. So instead, for more color, we've got some diced red bell pepper that we're gonna add in. This is probably a little over a 1/4 cup. And I had diced this the other day, actually for a different recipe, but it's fine. We're gonna go ahead and just use them in here. And then I've got some green bell pepper, also diced. We're gonna use those as well. And you know what? I have another green bell pepper. I may dice just a little bit more up really quick while my daughter stirs the vegetable mixture. We just need to let these saute for 3 to 4 minutes or so until everything starts to soften up. And while they are cooking, I'm gonna add in some Kevin's all-purpose seasoning. We don't need to measure. You can also just use salt and pepper. All right, so let's just continue to let these vegetables soften up in the pot here. Okay, our vegetables are getting nice and tender. Looking really good. We have about 2 cloves of garlic that needed to be added in, and we'll saute all of that together. And just a pinch of dried thyme. Smells really good. It's gonna be really fragrant. You want that garlic to become very fragrant, but we don't wanna burn it either. We have 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm gonna start sprinkling this over the vegetables and coating the vegetables with this flour. This is just gonna help everything thicken up once we make our sauce. So we're going to make sure the flour sautés a bit. We are gonna be using some chicken bone broth. So we are going to slowly add in our chicken broth. We have 2 cups of this. So you're gonna slow, add maybe about a 1/4 cup or so to start, mix it together, then add a little bit more. And you just do that. That way you avoid clumps of flour. Our heat is currently medium to medium high. Keep adding. It's already thickening up. So we have 1 cup of milk. Stir in that 1 cup of milk. Yeah, all of it, that's fine. Okay, we do want this mixture to come up to a light boil, simmer, just starting to bubble a little bit. So I'm gonna crank my heat up just for a minute to get that going. Now we are going to be using mini gnocchi. I happened to find this today. I really don't think that it matters if you're using mini. We like a lot of gnocchi. In fact, I got 2 boxes of this. We might even be adding more. Okay, you can see we've got a bubble here. Turning it down so we're closer to medium. Let's add in those gnocchi. Let's add in the gnocchi. Okay, we're gonna let these cook for 5 to 6 minutes or so, making sure we're still at a medium just so we have a bit of a simmer. Now obviously you can make these separately in some boiling water and you could put them in here, but you will need to use less broth and milk for the sauce because it's not gonna reduce quite a bit because some of it is going to cook into that gnocchi. So just, you know, then it's not a 1-pot meal, but you can also do it separately. I did decide that I wanted to make sure we had enough and some leftovers as well for lunches. So I added some more gnocchi and a little bit more of the broth, the bone broth. So just playing around with the recipe a little bit. As it's cooking, I have some cooked and shredded chicken. I did a combination of chicken breasts and chicken thighs. We need overall about a cup. I'm probably gonna go more like 1.5 cups-ish, maybe even a little more. And then the other part is gonna be for another recipe that we're gonna make. Still cooking that gnocchi, but I just wanted to get that chicken in there so that it could warm back up. All that I did to cook that chicken was boil and shred. And if you have a KitchenAid mixer, it will shred your chicken up so fast. This is gonna be very gnocchi heavy. So if you don't like a lot of gnocchi, I would say maybe not the second package, but we love gnocchi. I would say if I had to guess what would be the perfect amount, about 20 ounces of gnocchi would be perfect. This is probably closer to 30. Actually, it is closer to 30, I know that for sure. All right, I had to test a gnocchi to see if it was done, and it is. Let's turn off our heat, give it a quick stir here. It looks delicious. I've already tasted the gnocchi to make sure that it was cooked all the way. This is really hot. That's really good. It's really hearty, tastes like home, like just a good home cooked meal. Tons of good flavor in here. If you're not using gnocchi, guys, it's very, very good. It's made from potato and flour. There is gluten-free options available as well, but I definitely suggest making this one, and it doesn't get better than it all being in one pot. We are making garlic Parmesan chicken skewers. I'm making these in the air fryer, but I'm gonna leave oven instructions and grilling instructions below, so you don't have to have an air fryer to do this, but I'm really excited. I'm using chicken thighs because y'all know we love our chicken thighs. So I'm just gonna cut them up, and really they don't have to be cut into pieces or anything. I just wanna make sure that we cut the fat off, because as much as we love our chicken thighs, I do not like all the fat that comes on them. So if I lay the thigh out, I know this is really weird. If I lay the thigh out, I'm gonna cut it in half lengthwise because of the way the skewer is. I just feel like that'll be better, okay? So just like that. We are also doing a trial run of a recipe to go with this tonight, and I'm really excited. So if it works out, then you guys will see it. Not tonight, but in another video. Okay, for this chicken, I'm gonna toss in some avocado oil, no more than, it really just needs like a half teaspoon, not much at all. And then paprika. Paprika is perfect for a recipe like this because it really adds a beautiful color and richness. Around a teaspoon, I wanna make sure that it's a decent amount. I'm also adding some onion powder, about a teaspoon of this, maybe a little under a teaspoon. Same with the garlic powder. We wanna make sure we've got good flavor. About a half teaspoon of salt. Toss all of this in that seasoning. I actually didn't consider the fact that these skewers are just a tad too long for the air fryer basket. So I am gonna cut them down, which is very easy to do, especially since they've been soaking in water. Okay, so those are ready. They've been soaking, they're good to go. I do wanna spray my air fry basket. And then we're just gonna start taking pieces and kind of weaving them through the skewer. Once we have them on the skewer, we'll just lay them on the baking sheet there. And I'm just gonna repeat for each one. And I think the only way I'm gonna get all of these in here at the same time is to like go back and, what is it called? Opposite direction. I'm not thinking of my words right now. Flip them one way. There's a word for that. Let me know in the comments. Somebody's saying it right now. All right, I have a couple of tablespoons of butter here. We're gonna melt this in the microwave. You can obviously melt it on your stovetop if that's what you prefer. All right, we are going heavy on the garlic. So I'm adding a good amount of garlic in here. You can make as much butter sauce as you want. I'm making a smaller amount. Just based on what I see here with the skewers, I feel like this is a good amount. I'm adding at least 3 garlic cloves, and I know this is a lot, but this is, I mean, it is a garlic butter sauce for the purpose of basting. Adding just a touch of hot sauce. You can add whatever kind of hot sauce you like. And also just a touch of cayenne. This is completely optional. Feel free to skip this if you just feel like that's just gonna be too much. So it's really not much at all. Let's mix all of that, especially those clumps of cayenne. We do not want that. Now I'm also gonna add a little bit of parsley to this and some Parmesan cheese. Let's go ahead and add the Parmesan. It's already ready. I just shredded this up. I actually double shredded it so that it would be more like grated. So I'm gonna add at least a 1/4 cup in here. Okay, just a few sprigs. Add some color. Okay, at the beginning here, I'm gonna be a little more conservative with the butter mixture. And then the second time around, we'll add more. These are gonna go into the air fryer at 400 degrees. If you're making these on the grill, I would just make sure your grill's nice and hot before you put these on so you get that sizzle right away. And then if you're baking these in the oven, you need them on a foil-lined baking sheet, and your oven is gonna be at 450 degrees. So air fryer's at 400, your oven would be 450. And these are gonna go in the air fryer at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. We'll flip them, add more of that, and cook again. Okay, let's take these out, flip them, baste them, and go again. My butter mixture was a little too close to the stove. So we've got some melting action going on, which is not great with Parmesan cheese because they don't like that. They don't work well together when that starts to happen. Okay, let's go again. I'm gonna go back in for another 5 minutes. Same process. With this round, I think I'm gonna go 7 minutes and see what it looks like. These are done. You could obviously make a nice little garlic parm sauce to go with it, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think they're gonna need them. Actually, before we lay this down, I'm gonna add some more garnish. So we've got some Parmesan cheese with the parsley already cut up in it, ready to go. We're gonna serve from the table, but let's just take a piece off of the end to try. That's really, really good. I don't think it needs a dipping sauce, but I do think if you wanted to have this more appetizer style and serve it with a dipping sauce, that would be a good option. But the flavor, these are very, very good. Bold flavors because of all that garlic. And you get just the slightest hint of cayenne. It's not spicy, but you taste the fact that there's cayenne in it. Very good. We are going to make a white chicken Caprese lasagna. This looks so good. I am decreasing this recipe. I'm going to only make half of it. I have a lot of cooking to do this week, so we don't need a full recipe because I really don't need leftovers, although I have a feeling we're gonna want them. But I am starting with a 1/4 stick of butter here in this pot. We're gonna take this over to the stovetop, and I've already got some supplies ready to go to start the sauce. All right, so we are going to start by melting our butter here in this pot. Okay, now that that butter is melted, let's add in about 2 cloves of garlic. So I'm doing around 1.5 teaspoons for that. And we're gonna whisk that together. Just letting this saute for a minute. We have about 1/8 cup of flour here. We're gonna add this in and whisk all that together as well. And this is gonna help to thicken up that sauce. This sauce is gonna be so delicious. We've got 2 cups of milk, and I'm just gonna add this a little bit at a time, and we're gonna whisk it all together with each addition. So we wanna make sure We don't have any separating or anything like that. My heat is currently on low, by the way, just to make sure that nothing crazy happens. All right, that's the full 2 cups of milk, nicely whisked together. Okay, now we want to add in the heavy cream, and we're gonna do the same thing. After we add the heavy cream and it's nicely whisked together, we're gonna crank up the heat a little bit because we do need this to come to a boil. You do wanna keep stirring this the whole time. Okay, we got to a boil, so now we're gonna add in some mozzarella cheese. I'm probably gonna add in about a cup or so of mozzarella, and we're gonna whisk all that together. We want to slowly add our ingredients. Okay, let's get that combined. Also, my heat is now on medium-low. I did turn it down. I'm going to add a touch of salt and continue to whisk. You can see that sauce is thickening up. And we also want to add in some spinach here. I'm probably gonna add around a cup, and we'll let that wilt together in the sauce. I'm also gonna add in some chopped fresh basil. That's probably around a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons-ish. Mix all this together. All right, our sauce is done. So let's just set this to the side while we work on the other things. And then we've got one more thing to make, and then we will start the assembly process. We need to make up the ricotta mixture. I have 15 ounces of ricotta here. That is what we are going to use. If you're doing a bigger one, you need 2 pounds of ricotta, 16 ounces in a pound. Okay, so this is right around 1 pound, which is good. To the ricotta, we're gonna add about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan. I think this is a Parmesan Asiago. Let's add it all, might as well. It was close enough to a 1/4 cup. And start to stir that together. Oh, my oven, preheated to 350, so that's gonna be ready to go. Add in 1 egg. We do need a touch of salt, so about a 1/2 teaspoon or so, and just a touch of pepper. We mix all this together, and this will be our ricotta mixture. Now we have everything ready for the assembly line. Also, I did shred up some chicken. I made this chicken last night in our crock pot. Little tip for you if you don't know this, if you take your chicken and put it in here with your paddle attachment, it will shred it in like 10 seconds for you. So that's very helpful. Now, normally I would make this in my white dish, but I do feel like it's gonna be really pretty to see the layers. So we're gonna make it in a clear dish for tonight. And unlike the past few recipes, I'm going to spray. I don't know what the deal has been lately, but I'm forgetting to spray my pans. Okay, so now we are set up. We've got the sauce, the ricotta mixture, the shredded chicken, the noodles that I did not buy no boil noodles. I went ahead and boiled them. You can do them with the oven ready ones. That's completely fine. I've got some shredded mozzarella cheese. We've got, oh, we're gonna have to add tomatoes. I'm gonna have to wash a cutting board. Okay, so we're just gonna cut these tomatoes. Most of them I'm just gonna cut in half, but like this one is really large, so I'm gonna cut it into 4s. Now I believe we are ready for the assembly. Let's take a couple spoonfuls of the sauce that we made, just a few ladles, and it's the same way you do a regular lasagna. You know, you put a little bit of sauce at the bottom of your pan. So we're doing that exact same thing. Just a little bit of sauce there, covering the bottom of the pan. Now we're going to lay our noodles into the pan. And like I said, the oven ready ones are totally fine. I decided to do these. I don't remember, maybe they didn't have them available when I did my grocery order. I can't remember the reason why I picked these, but it's completely fine to use those. I've used oven ready noodles so many times. Okay, so that goes down. Then we wanna add some ricotta mixture on top of the noodles. Also, if you do not like ricotta cheese, one thing that I used to do, and sometimes we still do, is if you like cottage cheese, blend up, like really blend up some cottage cheese with Parmesan cheese. It's the same effect, a little bit different of a taste, but I really like that. Add on top some of our chicken. So like I said, this is shredded. You can use cubed, you can use whatever kind. A rotisserie chicken would probably be great for this. So if that's something that you have available. So you wanna add about 1/3, and I think I'm gonna have chicken left over just because of the amount that I made. So we will use that up in a different recipe. And now we want to top with sauce. And we are going to repeat those layers. So when you think of this, think of it in thirds. So that was about a third of my sauce. Now I'm going back in with noodles, same process. Oh, and I like to turn my noodles the opposite direction of whatever the last layer was. You don't have to do that. We have 3 beautiful layers here. Now we need to top with some cheese. So this is mozzarella. We just want to cover the whole thing. Now we want to scatter on these cherry tomatoes. You know, before we even do that, just to make sure I protect my oven, we're gonna put this on a baking sheet. Okay, we're gonna scatter some cherry tomatoes over the top. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I feel like a lasagna already looks good. I mean, just the layers and all the things that you have in it. But come on, you have to admit, this looks really good. Like I said, my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. This is gonna go in for about 45 minutes. Now, if it's a full pan, it's going in for 45 minutes. This one may take a little less time, plus my noodles are already done. So again, it might take a little less time. I'm gonna set my timer for 35 and just watch it from there, making sure that the top does not get too brown. How good does this look? I cannot wait to cut into this. Take just a little bit of basil and cut it up for the top. And I'm gonna be using this balsamic glaze that we have to decorate. How good does this look? You guys, seriously, delicious. Obviously, we gotta try it. This is a big piece. We're gonna have to cut these in half for the kids for sure. That's very good. This is really good. If you like caprese chicken, you're really gonna like this one. It's actually there's a little bit of sweetness because of that ricotta cheese, but mostly it's savory. You get that balsamic, which adds just that hint of sweetness to the top. You've got the basil in there, the spinach, all those cheeses, the noodles. This is delicious. Obviously, it takes a little bit more effort as a casserole, but so does regular lasagna. So if you're gonna make regular lasagna, you might as well make have a little bit more effort and make this. It's so good. Our verse today comes from Psalm 31:24. Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you need more inspiration in the kitchen, I highly suggest you check out the video above. I've also got several other videos here on my channel that are just devoted to chicken recipes. So if you need more, check those out too. I hope you're having a great week.